We're with Coach Mike McConaughey, the Demon head basketball coach, as his team prepares to go into the Southland Conference tournament Wednesday in Katy, Texas against Lamar. And before we get to basketball, let's talk about the situation that your team and Will Mosley have encountered with the terrible, tragic loss of his infant twins on Saturday night. How are you as a basketball family doing, and how is Will and Kayla, how are they doing?
I've spoken with Will, and he's to return today on Monday back here sometime today. And, you know, he's doing as well as can be expected. I mean, just such a tragedy. Any loss of a loved one is difficult, but when it's a child, parents aren't supposed to bury children, and so that's very, very difficult for them, Kayla and Will. But he sounded strong on the phone, and his teammates are, you know, adjusting the best they can. Of course, you know, when it's a friend and a teammate that's lost someone, you naturally have a grieving process that you go through, because you have a emptiness and a hurt for them. But I think that until Will's back with them, I don't know that it's going to really hit him. I think that right now he's been separated from since after the game when they left and went. They were in another car, and we got back here, and we had a time of prayer in the dressing room before they went to Shreveport to be with Will's family. But it's a difficult thing, but it's something that, you know, we have to have a tremendous amount of faith in God. And you know, at this time, anytime you have a tragedy, your faith really is tested. And where do you stand? And is that something that you truly believe in? And when we have beliefs, we have to hold to those beliefs and wrap our arms around them in a manner that is, you know, without any doubt, because we do know that He'll comfort us and He'll take care of us and He'll comfort Will and Kayla through this time. It'll be a long time. There's always going to be an empty hole in that heart for Jaden and Caden. But at the same time, it's just very important for us to understand we have faith.
Talk about the outpouring of support that you've received.
It's been pretty remarkable. I mean, you know, Danny Casper has expressed a tremendous amount of support. He was, of course, being there that night and getting it firsthand. I think it probably rang home more directly because he was there and he was experiencing it. And Larry Tidwell, the coach at Lamar, former athletic director and women's coach, a dear friend, has called and offered up support. Dave Simmons, Scott Cross, those people. UTSA is contacted through their senior women's administrator, just offering some kind of support, trying to show some concern and compassion. So it's been very humbling to see the people that have stepped forward, and of course there's a tremendous number of people that in the community have already acknowledged that they would like to support and contribute in a manner. At the time, we're trying to set up a fund that would be the William Mosley Family Fund that would help to offset expenses that are out there for funerals and travel expenses and things like that.
All right, let's turn to basketball, as Picayune as it is in the grand scheme of things. It's certainly the focus ahead for your team. You're playing in the conference tournament. Your teams through the years have been very successful in conference tournament play. We've played in 6 championship games. We're 14-6 in tournament games. Is there a recipe for success that the Demon basketball program has?
Well, one of the things that's always been a big plus for our team has been depth. And going in the conference tournament, because we play a lot of people, and over the course of a 4-day tournament, it makes a difference if you can keep legs as fresh as possible. That's been one of our successes. Belief in the fact of a system, belief in the fact that you can go into a 3-game tournament and you're starting 0-0, and we've got a 3-game season. And if you win that, then you start another season. And we've done a great job in the past of being able to convince the guys that that's something that they have to hold to and believe to, and they have to have total focus in that. And I think that's why we've been so successful. Of course, that goes back to the 99-2000 team, which got to the tournament from a 6th seed, I believe, to end up winning, getting beat by Lamar at the Gold Dome. And then the next year we came in as a low seed as well. We're able to win the championship over the outright champion that year, McNeese State. You might say that we built a reputation for being a tournament team, to be someone that needed to be feared. And at the same time, we had a great deal of confidence and swagger about us going in the tournament, that we could be competitive. And that's kind of been the case. I mean, we're in the tournament championship 4 years in a row. One of our years we were 15-17 going in to the tournament and ended up getting the championship game. The next year I didn't have a winning record either, and we were able to go into the tournament and got the championship game, lost to UTA, the champion from this year, on a play in which we got the ball on the block with about 2 seconds to go with the biggest guy we had, and it hit his hands, and all he had to do is turn around, score up, and go up and shoot it, and it fumbled out of bounds. And I felt so sorry for him because, you know, he carried that around with him. But you know, that was unfortunate. But I mean, I think that we are built for tournaments. I think that that's important. And I think that we have the opportunity to go out and play. I think that Lamar is a very talented team who we're playing. But at the same time, we beat them here by 12 points. We lost to them on the road by 19. I think it's a good matchup for us. I think that they're dangerous because they have great players in Miles and James and Lamb and Brandon Davis, but guys that can really score the basketball. But I think that if we can keep them in check, that we also will be able to score the basketball against them. And that's when we score, we're pretty dangerous.
Your team coming into the tournament had its best offensive performance maybe ever, certainly in your 13 years, shooting 64% and 61% from three last Wednesday. Then you ran up against a great defensive basketball team Saturday in Stephen F. Austin in a game that was 9 ties and 8 lead changes, and they made a run for about 4 minutes coming down the stretch that made the difference. But it would seem that your team is, as they say, peaking at the right time.
Well, we're very hopeful because that's what you're wanting to do. You peak at the time for the tournament because really and truly, the league doesn't really matter. I mean, you do the league to get in position to play. And honestly, the seed doesn't matter. It's the matchups in a tournament. That's like the NCAA always talks about seeds in March Madness. It's about the matchup. It's who you get. And if that team, you match up against that team, that you can be competitive. So that's what we're hopeful of. We're hopeful that the Lamar matchup's a good matchup. And then eventually the Sam Houston, Stephen F. matchup would be a good matchup for us to get to the championship game.
All right. With the tournament, who are the other teams that you think are really threats to make a run through the tournament?
Obviously, UTA is a threat because they went 15-1 in the league and dropped their last game. You don't know how they, the last time that they lost, they responded very well to a loss after they lost to Weber State in the bracket buster and went on the road to McNeese and won. If they shoot the ball well, they're very, very dangerous and will be very hard to handle. I know that when we played them this year, they went 2 for 18 from the three-point line. We just hit our scoring slump and couldn't score, and that created a problem for us. But I think that they're talented, very well coached. Scott Cross has done a great job. Of course, Danny Casper at Stephen F. Austin is a phenomenal coach. Every year he's there, knocking on the door, doing a phenomenal job with his team. So I would say those two teams, they're 1 and 2, would be probably the two that you're looking at because they're 1 and 2. But I think each one of them have some qualities that are different and put them in a different position to try to advance.
What gives you the greatest faith that this team can pull off a little bit of March Madness and get to next week?
The fact that at times we've played as well as any team I've coached at Northwestern. I mean, you go back to the University of Arkansas Little Rock game, who won the Sun Belt League, their championship on their side. We were up 27 on them here. Lost to them at their place by 6 because we were so poor from the free throw line that day. Campbell University comes in here 17-11, was second in the league at that time, and we were up over 20 points on them at one point. Nichols, who came in here winning 5 out of 6, was hot we were up 42 on them about 3 minutes to go in the game when I made some substitution. Ended up winning by 31 for the largest victory margin in the 25-year history of the Southland Conference for Northwestern playing there. So if you can get on one of those rolls, it could be a pretty special run.
All right, we're with junior guard Shamir Davis as the Demon basketball team is preparing for the Southland Conference tournament. Tips off Wednesday in Katy, Texas at the Merrill Center. The Demons were there last year and lost a bitter first-round game to Texas San Antonio, who went on as the #7 seed to win the conference championship. First things first, Shamir, and certainly far more important in basketball, you're a very good friend, former high school teammate and Demon teammate for the last 3 years. William Mosley has gone through just a terrible personal tragedy with the loss of his sons on Saturday night. How are you guys as a team dealing with this, and what can you say about how Will is holding up?
Well, obviously he's hurt. I mean, that situation is once in a lifetime. We really never heard or seen anything like it. We're trying our best to know how to handle it. But as far as a basketball standpoint, we know he would want us to keep playing hard. And we know this is last year, and he wants to get this ring, so we have to continue to do what we have to do in practice in order to get that ring for him. If we didn't have a reason before, we really have one now.
All right, let's talk about the basketball end of it. The Demons come into the tournament as one of the mystery teams, a team that's done very, very well at times and a team that's struggled at other times. How do you see the Demons coming into the tournament? What are our best assets?
Well, we play Lamar first round. We really have to work on rebounding. Obviously, everyone in the whole conference knows that we have to work on rebounding, offensive rebounds. We really don't get many, so we really need that. We can do it. We just don't pursue the ball as much as other teams do. I think we get lackadaisical because Mosley usually gets them all, and people take their eyes off the ball, and that's been one of our downfalls all season. So if we can get rebounds, we'll knock down shots. We have plenty of shooters. We'll knock down shots, and we can contain drivers and get a hand up on shooters, but mainly rebounding, a couple of free throws, and just cutting off driving angles would be it.
Okay, Lamar is a team we've played twice. We've beaten them at our place. They beat us at their place. What about that matchup?
I think it was a good draw for us, me personally. Lamar, they have great guard play, as we do too. Have great 2-guard, great 1-guard punch. Both scoring double figures. They have some good rebounders inside. They have a guy, Lamb, is about 6 foot, who can get outstanding rebound, double-figure rebounds every night. We just have to keep a body on him, make sure we limit their possessions, and we can do that. We'll be fine.
How much does last year's tournament disappointment factor into your preparation and emotional approach to this year's tournament?
Well, it's a year later, so we're back here in that same boat now. We had UTSA last year. Obviously, we fell off at the end of the game. Lost a real tough one. That's been a bittersweet taste in our mouth ever since. That was a year ago. Now we're back. We have no time for crying or no emotion. We have to go out and get it done. Lamar, they can beat you at any given time. They can shoot threes. They can dunk the ball. They have all kind of weapons over there. So we just have to be on our toes at all times of the game.
It's 3 wins and you're in the big dance, the NCAA tournament. What gives you faith that the Demons can prevail and get it done this week?
I know our guys want it so bad. I know we only have 2 seniors, but the rest of our guys play like it's more than 2 seniors. They really want to be there, and they watch basketball games on TV all the time, the ESPN games, ESPN2 games, and they always say, "Man, I want to be there." Me too. I always say, "Man, I want to be there. I want to play." Well, 3 games and we can do it. We can be there. It's a possibility. I mean, no one says we can't be there. No one says we can't do it. So 3 games and we can do it. We won 5 games already this season, so 3 games should be nothing.